special guest straight from the Super 8 tournament on the line with us? No? Hello?
Hey, there we are. I hear you guys.
You hear me?
I hear you now. What's up, man? How are you?
Victorious. I've been struggling with this all day. They said I need to get a rotator phone or a rotary phone or a rotocuff. I don't know. I'm having problems with my phone.
Yeah, I see that, bud. We're good to go now, though.
Okay. I don't want to butcher your name in front of the millions of viewers here. Can you please pronounce your name?
It's Tommaso Ciampa.
Tommaso.
You gotta give it another try. So it's Tommaso.
Tommaso.
Ciampa.
Ciampa.
You got it, bud.
I do much better when I just YouTube your videos. It's a lot easier for me.
There you go.
Matter of fact, I just watched you versus Colt Cabana that you had back in, I guess, the 1st of September, I think it was.
Yeah, a couple months back, we worked for Joey Bricko's CTWE in Connecticut.
Yeah, that was a crowd jumper over there.
Yeah, it was a good time. We had they actually had they brought Bryan Danielson in for one of his last indie shows, so.
Mm-hmm.
They did better than they usually do, I'm pretty sure.
Who was that made the run-in? I couldn't tell.
Probably Antonio Thomas, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, from used to tag with Romeo doing the heartthrob gimmick.
Right. Definitely. Well, recently, you were in the Super 8 tournament. It's, a legendary tournament with the best of the indie stars come together for one night only, and a lot of big names have won it. You did fairly well in the tournament. Why don't you tell us a little about it?
Yeah, Super 8 was a hell of a time. This was the 13th annual one, I believe, of Jim Kettner's ECWA promotion. Field this year was a little different than usual. He usually, has some big names come down, but this year it was a lot of younger talents just kind of trying to get their names out there. But it's a hell of a time. I actually was able to make it all the way down to the final round with Nick Logan, so it was quite the show.
Yeah, we had Prince Nana on the show a couple of weeks ago, and
Prince Nana should be getting me into the embassy any day now. Me and Prince Nana have been talking since the Super 8. I think the first thing I said to Prince Nana when I saw him, if I go further in this tournament than you do, I want in the embassy. So you tell Prince Nana when you talk to him that Tommaso Ciampa wants in the damn embassy, and I want in now.
I've been trying to get in the embassy myself, and he won't let me.
The problem is he's the mouthpiece. He's the mouthpiece. He doesn't need another mouthpiece, but what he could use is a young, well-conditioned, ready-to-go athlete. So I'm waiting for my damn phone call from him.
Yes, we'll definitely have to give him a shout-out, especially since he didn't quite make it out of the first round, and you made it to the finals. So that's
and the same man who defeated Prince Nana is the guy I met in the final round. So,
yeah.
What are you gonna do?
So now, you were looking around on the internet you were in the WWE at one point, right?
Yeah. Yep. 2007, I was signed to a developmental deal. That's when Nova was the head talent relations or whatever it was. And I went down to OVW during the final days there, unfortunately, right before they shut down and sent everyone down to Florida, and the rest of us they just sent home packing. So, but it was quite the time. I was down there with Al Snow was the trainer, and Robert Gibson was down there. Dr. Death was there for quite a bit. So that's actually where I met Colt Cabana as well.
Yeah, okay.
So for those who aren't familiar with your history, give us a little background and how you came into the sport, and how you got to the WWE for that time and where you're at right now.
The short story, I guess, too, that I started out of high school. As soon as I graduated, I had a couple setbacks. I had like 2 knee surgeries within my first month training, and I started at was Killer Kowalski School and Chaotic Wrestling. That's in North Andover in Mass. But it took me. I got lucky. I was just like within 1 year of wrestling, WWE was in town, and they wanted a rather short guy who had like dark features and could pull off a Muslim type of descent. And then, they're never looking for anyone under 6 foot. And for this specific spot, that's all they wanted. So 3 of us got sent down from Killer's place, and the next thing I knew, I was doing tryouts and doing rehearsal script readings right in front of Vince McMahon and Hunter and Stephanie McMahon, and I was in Vince's office, and all in a matter of one night, I ended up getting the part, and I posed as Muhammad Hassan's lawyer during his feud with The Undertaker. So it was, it was the night of, getting Tombstone and the choke slam and the whole deal, but within that one night, I went from them not knowing who the hell I was, from a hole in the wall to instantly being put on their radar. Probably undeservingly, but regardless, I was on their radar. So I think from there, just kind of everything just, fell together. I did a Deep South tryout. I did a couple of dark matches. I actually tagged with Kofi Kingston, right before he got signed in a dark match. And then with whatever it be, a year or 2 later is when I got sent down to OVW. So,
what you said you were... What was the atmosphere like when you were in the room with Hunter and Vinnie Mac? Everybody, talks about how intimidating Vince is when you first met him. What was, did you have nerves, or did you have nerves of steel?
Well, this wasn't the first time meeting Vince. When I was like 12 years old, for what it's worth, when I was 12 years old, my sister lived in Las Vegas, so my brother, myself, and my cousin flew out there for the first time to see her. And the first person we see in the airport elevator is Vince, with what now I can figure was probably Shane, but at the time I had no idea who it was. And I had no balls to say anything, but my brother looks up at him and kind of gives him a little, "Hey, you're Vince McMahon." And he yelled, "Yes, son, yes, I am." And we love your thing, and my brother's going to be a pro wrestler one day, and blah, blah, blah. So it was a good way to kind of, when I saw Vince again, was like, hey, when I was 12, I told you I was going to be a WWE superstar, just to break the ice and hopes. And he was just, like, overwhelmingly nice to me, which was shocking. From all the stories I heard, I was scared. I was waiting outside his office, and I think it was Michael Hayes who just came out, and all you heard was shouting about, God knows what, he was pissed. And Hayes looks at me and goes, "Kid, you next?" And I'm like, "Yep." He goes, "You don't got a chance in fucking hell." And I'm just sitting there like, oh, Christ, what am I going to do? And Vince comes out 10 minutes later, and he's like, "Kid, come in here and read." So, it was so relaxed, because I went in there, 10 minutes later, or not even 5 minutes later, Hunter's coming in, and he's making, like, muscle milk shakes and stuff. So it instantly became this, like, father, son-in-law, hanging out, no pressure. And it was cool. Like, Stephanie McMahon gave me a tour of the facility, and I still remember her kind of looking back at me, because, I was probably wide-eyed and mouth dropped down to the floor. And she just looks at me and says, "Hey, it's just like the Independents, just with a whole lot more money." And it was like humbling, It's like, wow, yeah, I guess, kind of, not really, but yeah, okay. So it was a hell of a time, and all the guys were great to me. Like, even the run through that we did with Taker and stuff, and Hunter was by ringside then. Just little stuff like Ted DiBiase, I think, was our agent for the spot. Like, smallest stuff of just how you say a word, or what they want your facial expression to be. you learned a lot, and they put me at ease for sure. Like, I don't know why or if they took a liking to me or what it was, but they really were cool to me.